Oh, ow, it's painful to the ears. Okay, our massive audience, everybody, congratulations. Welcome to Toastmasters. Thanks for showing up. We have a new member today. Yes, we have a new prospective member eager to join. We're glad that you're looking forward to joining us. And have they given you an application form yet, Peter?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Did I fill that out?
Excellent. Good to have you on board. Today, everybody, the mission of our club, let's begin with that. The mission of the Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn fosters self-confidence and personal growth. It's our mission as Toastmasters to do the best we can to develop this in all of you. Let us welcome our Toastmaster of this evening, Art Atkinson.
Thank you, Dennis. My role is to keep the meeting moving on time and schedule according to our agenda. We have a number of role players who help conduct the meeting successfully. One of those is our timer. Good evening, Leslie Hollis, our timer. Would you please explain the role of the timer and what you'll be doing this evening?
The role of the timer is, as you can imagine, to keep the time for each person giving a speech. And the timer will give clues or cues to the speaker with this light here. So tonight we don't have any prepared speeches, but we'll be. We have one. Oh, we do. We have an icebreaker speech, which is 4 to 6 minutes, and for that speech, the green light is turned on at 5 minutes.
At 4 minutes.
At
4. Icebreaker is the one that's different.
at 4 minutes. Pardon me. At 4 minutes, and at 5 minutes, and then at 6 minutes, the red light goes on and stays on to let the person know that their time is allotted. And then we'll also be doing table topics tonight. Table topic speeches are 1 to 2 minute speeches, and the green light is turned on at 1 minute, the yellow light at 1.5 minutes, and the red light at 2 minutes. Also, we will have time for evaluations as well. And we are allowed 3 minutes for evaluations. That's it.
Thank you.
Another role is the grammarian. Tonight our grammarian, Will Burns. Will you please explain, Will, the work that you'll be doing?
Yes, thank you, Art. As grammarian, I will be keeping track of any beautiful, flowery language or evocative language that makes tears stream down my face. Also, if you use any language incorrectly, I will cry, I will be very upset, and I will tell you at the end of the meeting. And finally, my third duty is to give you a word of the day. Today, that word is gregarious. When referring to a person, it means fond of company or sociable. I will keep track of how many times you use this in tonight's meeting and then tell you at the end. So please use beautiful language and gregarious in your speeches tonight. Thank you, Art.
Said with great gusto. Our A counter this evening is Dennis Gomez. Dennis, will you explain the role of the A counter?
As A counter, I will be taking notes of how many times all of you use like, so, but, and, tongue click, Xerox, and false start. being from North Dakota, you know, is my personal favorite. But I will be calling all of you out on it at the end of the meeting, except for myself, naturally. Thank you.
The next role is our general evaluator role, and I need a volunteer general evaluator. Hearing none, I will be the general evaluator myself.
I do. You want to be Toastmaster and
You have an important role according to the agenda. You are the greeter and joke master tonight.
That's true.
So we will hear from our greeter and joke master later this evening. So let's all look forward to that. Now it's my honor to move us into the prepared speech section of our meeting. Tonight we have a prepared speech, an icebreaker. Khadefa Shadnawi will be giving his icebreaker. Congratulations, sir. Let's welcome up his evaluator, Fraser Jones, to explain the purpose of his project and to tell us a little bit about Khadefa. Fraser.
Hudaifa Chatwani is from Jordan, and since he'll be talking about himself in this speech, I'll leave it up to him. Right? But the objectives of this speech is to begin speaking before an audience, to discover speaking skills you already have and skills that need some attention, and the time is 4 to 6 minutes. So without further ado, welcome Hudaifa.
A programmer, a calligrapher, a father of 2 children, a husband, and the 8th child of a family of 11 children. Toastmasters professionals. My father has moved from Jordan to Abu Dhabi, that was before the United Arab Emirates, in 1969, with my mother and 2 elder children. He was a teacher there, and 13 years later, I was born in Abu Dhabi. I lived there for the early childhood, about 5 years. Living there had different experience. Since it's a big city, we lived only in our home, so we do not have any social or gregarious activities. When I was 5 years, we returned back to Jordan, which opened new life, new world for me. I had the opportunity to play with other children, to be in contact, direct contact with the nature, to play outside from the early morning until the sunset or until we couldn't see anything. Calligraphy was my passion. I loved what I did. I loved the calligraphy. Actually, the Arabic calligraphy is one of the best arts in the world. If you are not familiar, maybe you can do some research about that, or next week, or I will show you some of these works. But since we are in the technology era, calligraphy is not the right path to live because it's not worth. Everything can be done in the computer. So I have chosen this track for my life. So I become a programmer. Now, I could combine both the art and the work together in my life. So calligraphy is not a hobby, just a hobby in my life. I can combine it with my life, my work. Few years later, and through our traditions, I got engaged to my current wife, Nada. We never knew each other before, but through our families' communications or contacts or relations. Then, in April 2nd, 2010, my life has been changed when I got married to Nada, the best thing in my life. We got our first son in Jordan. But few years later, we had an option to move to United States, to another world, to another life, a new challenge. We moved here to have a new experience in our life, to have a new experience in my work, to learn new things, to learn English, and to become a Toastmasters member here. And we got our second son. And I lost my father during that time. So my son Muhammad has the name of my father, Muhammad. My message today is, regardless where you were born, regardless where you were raised, regardless where you live, do your duties towards yourself, towards your family, and towards the community to be success and happy. Thank you very much.
Madam Timer, please give us 2 minutes so that we can run evaluations. Very good, Toastmasters. We'll move on now to the next section of the meeting. Madam Timer, I saw the green light still on. Was within the 4 to 6 minute allotted time? Was he qualified on time? Good. Great. We will dispense with voting for the best speaker and move on to the evaluation section of our meeting. Mr. Evaluator, Fraser, are you ready? Great. Please help me welcome Fraser.
Diaper gave a great speech, and I'll follow the points in the manual for the evaluation. What strong points does the speaker already have? You have a great expressive voice and good eye contact. How well did the audience get to know the speaker? I think we got to know him very well. He enumerated he have now 2 kids and his whole history, basically life history, very well. Did the speech reflect adequate preparation? Yes, I think he had very good preparation. Did the speaker talk clearly and audibly? Yes, as I reiterated earlier, he had very good voice. Did the speech have a definite opening, body, and conclusion? Yes, he followed the timeline of his life from from Jordan, work to now he's in the USA. Please comment on the speaker's use of notes. Yeah, he did not use notes, and that was extremely good. Yeah. What could the speaker have done differently that would have improved the speech? One thing I realized he need to work more purposefully, right? And stay one place, make a point, and then make another, instead of just walking through and through. What did you like about the presentation? I definitely love his conclusion, where he said, no matter where you are from, where you are, you have to stand by your family. I think that was extremely good. So that's it, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Fraser. The next section of the meeting will be chaired by Jean Symington Craig. It is the opportunity for each of us to speak extemporaneously in a section that we call Table Talks. Jean, are you ready?
Yep.
Very good. Please help me welcome Jean Symington Craig, our Table Topics Master.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. This is our opportunity to practice some different muscles, and guests are welcome to come up and try this, but we usually let members try it first. So I'm looking at my one guest there, he's going, me, so you can see how it's done. I do have some questions here. I went with a theme of favorites. So these are going to be favorites, and we'll see how we do with this. Remember that your time, you're going for the green, so you want to at least go 1 minute, which is when the green light will go on. 1.5 minutes it'll be yellow, and at 2 minutes it'll be red, and you still have 30 seconds after that to finish it up. So go for the green, start pulling it together, stopping at the red, and then you have your 30 seconds to finish it. Alrighty. Who would like to go first? And I see the gentleman in the back, Will. Let's warmly welcome Will. All right, 1 to 8. Pick a question.
Would you pick for me?
Well, I like random, like whatever. The karma hits you in some ways.
4.
Okay.
I would have said 1, but I think
I don't know if I like that one for you.
1.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, 4. Will, what is your favorite time of year and why? Okay.
Madam Topics Master, Toastmasters, honored guest, and viewers at home. My favorite time of year is the time that we are embracing right now, autumn. Because we move out of the oppressive heat of summer, and we get that final yell before the cold, icy grip of winter. I remember driving here in Fairfield down Burlington Avenue, heading east, just as the leaves were starting to turn. And if unfortunately you're watching this from somewhere in the world where the seasons do not change in such a manner where the leaves do not change, then I'll take a moment just to reach out and feel sorry for you, because it is truly a beautiful thing. And in that moment, I had driven this road many a time, but in this moment it was unbelievably beautiful. Colors of red, of amber, of orange, gently coming down. Almost brought me to tears. I felt so honored to be in that moment, to savor that experience. And every time autumn approaches, I remember that. And I encourage each and every one of you to think about which time of year you appreciate the most, why you love it so much, whether it's being on the beach, being in summer, or it's making snowmen in winter, or whatever it is, hot cocoa. And find that time to appreciate with yourself and with others. Thank you.
Okay, so Will also demonstrated the up to 30 seconds that you have to think a little bit quietly to yourself how you might answer the question. And this is real life. Someone asks you on the street, a reporter asks you something, or your boss asks you something in a performance appraisal or an interview. What do you think about this? You're not expected to just jump out and have a ready formed answer. You're allowed to look like you're thinking because you want to give a valuable answer. Okay. So up to 30 seconds. All right. Who else would like to go? This should feel good because we're talking about favorite things. Oh, Art, let me just see if there's someone else who hasn't been up yet. Like just because you're the Toastmaster, and are you doing general evaluator too?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me just get someone a little less high profile. Fraser, you want to come on up? Okay. We'll get back to you. We'll probably get back to you. Okay. All right, we got to stay over here. Don't lose the. All right, what number would you like?
What's the range?
1 to 8 and not 4.
1, 2, 10, not 4. Let's try 1.
What is your favorite color? How does it make you feel? And why do you like that?
What is my favorite color? That actually vary throughout my life up to a point. I remember once my favorite color was brown. A certain type of brown, it blended with my skin, so when I had my t-shirt on, yeah, everything blended nicely, right? And yeah, I felt great wearing it. Later on, my favorite color was blue. I don't have no reason why that was my favorite color, but just made me feel good. Probably it's like the sky, you know, make you feel unlimited. And generally upbeat and nice, you know, the sky high, you know. So, what else can I say about my favorite color? Actually, I think that is it.
Good, very good. number 1 to 8.
7.
Okay. Where is a favorite part of the world for you? Why would you recommend a trip there?
Nice. Good question. Thank you. I love the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean has to be my favorite place in the world. There's so many beautiful beaches there, amazing food, wonderful friends and family, lots of different culture to absorb, different traditions. Whether you're on the west end of the Mediterranean, Spain or Morocco, you're on the east part, whether you are on the north side, the south side. There's so many places I want to go to in the Mediterranean, and there are so many places I've already been fortunate to have gone to. I would love the seaside and just how during the summer everything really just, the sun glazes over there while everybody gregariously gathers in bars and coffee shops and has picnics by the beach side and by the sea, just watching it glisten in the summer. Even though you sometimes need a siesta because of the smoldering, sweltering heat that gets the soul and usually decreases the work ethic a little bit during the summer too, naturally, which is okay for me. The Mediterranean also has a fantastic food culture, very importantly. Lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, lots of different traditions of when we eat different types of food. When you have a party, this kind of food is popular. When you have breakfast, this kind is. There's so many different colors, so many different varieties, and so many different traditions. Whether you're talking about tabbouleh salad, kusur salad, they'll call it in Turkey. Whether you're talking about olives that are beautifully marinated in Spain. There's so many things. And I'm becoming so hungry by saying this. So I'll get to my last point about that. It's just culture. There's so many different cultures, so many different languages. Whether you're on the south end of Mediterranean and west end, you have the Arabic tradition. You have, and on the east end too, and you have Italian tradition, and you have the French, the Greeks, the Turks, all on different parts of the north too. It's amazing. I love the Mediterranean. Thank you.
So Hy-Vee is going to wonder why all of a sudden everybody is coming out of here after the meeting and just buying all this stuff. It'll be because of Dennis has us all mouth watering, right?
Just helping the business.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I saw Peter. Would you like to go do one? Okay. Okay.
5.
You guys are remembering the numbers. That's great.
I hope so.
Okay.
1 through 8. I can.
But the ones that
I can
have
remember.
already been used, this
Okay.
is getting to be higher, processing. I'm impressed.
Do we have 9 people tonight?
We might.
We're in trouble.
Well, we may have to do a recycle.
Oh, okay.
All right.
But thank you for keeping us on track here. So Peter, what is a favorite song or a piece of music, a musician or a band that inspires you? And tell us about it.
I'd have to say that as far as, I should greet everybody, I guess, first. Toastmasters, Madam,
Tabletop.
whatever, tabletop person, and so forth. I will not greet the guests because I'm the only one. And so, but going ahead, the The music that I like the most is, I like orchestras. I don't much care what they're playing, but I like the idea of pre-modern loud music. Anybody can, 3 people can get together and buy an amplifier, and they can be as loud as anybody would wish. But it takes real skill for 60 people to all play the same music at the same time, get the expressions right, do everything correctly, not hit any flat notes, not to mess up or come in before they should. And when they want to, they can punch out a really loud sound, get the juices flowing. It's not important what kind of music it is. It's just that it's done well. Yes, I like classical music. I like certain kinds of rock. Orchestra can do all that. If you want some punch, you can go to the offensive line of the orchestra, the trumpet section. If you want something smoothing, you go to the woodwinds and the strings. And if you want a real surprise, you go to the percussion, like this. And all of those things together, in the right order, at the right time, the effect can be really good. And oops, I'm done. All right.
And did you feel like as soon as you saw the red, Peter, that's when you said, I'm done?
I stopped, yes.
Okay, so just to know,
I could have gone longer.
you can kind of, that's the sort of, in the back of your brain, you're going, okay, but you still have 30 seconds just to say. Really well done. I like this move, smoothing and punch and all that. All right. We're getting our way through this. Art, did you want to get up?
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So what would you like?
2.
2. Ah. Here we go. I'll just have to say, on my questions, some of them I said, what is your favorite? And that can actually throw you because you're going, I like that. And it's like hard to get the favorite. So then I cheated a little bit and I said, what is one of your favorites? So that helps it a little easier. Okay, so you're getting one of those, Art, after I started to feel a little more compassion.
That's good, because if I'd had Peter's question, I'd have been in the same problem that you just described.
Yeah, it's hard to pick your favorite, but one of your favorites is a little easier. Okay, you ready?
I'm listening.
Okay. What is one of your favorite foods? Here we go, we're all going to be drooling again. And what makes it so appealing to you?
Toastmasters, viewers at home, guests. One of my current favorite foods was something I detested as a child. That's avocados. Avocados are glorious. Is there anybody in the room who doesn't just savor avocados when they get the chance for it? I had a good friend who told me that he grew up in St. Louis and had the occasion once to go visit one of his friends in Southern California, Santa Ana, California. He arrived late at night. When he woke up the next morning, he walked out to look at this guy's backyard, and there was an avocado tree in the backyard, and it was in full fruit. He said it just about knocked him off his feet. He went home from this visit with a suitcase full of avocados. His whole prior experience of avocados was that they were something that you got for $3 each in the supermarket, and you rarely spent that much money on any one single fruit. So there's a so for the off-counter. My experience with avocados as a child was my mom had a rule called the Clean Plate Club rule. Most of us probably have heard of the Clean Plate Club. Well, if you were served vegetables or if you had a salad, you ate everything. She had one exception, and that was the pieces of avocado that she diced up and put in the salad. It was permissible to push them to the side of your plate, and she was happy to scoop them up and eat them herself. She was ahead of me. I have finally got there. I will take avocado in almost any form. Good guacamole is one great way to have avocado. Avocado smashed onto a piece of toast is another good way. My other favorite food I have a problem with because I'm having to wean myself off of peanut butter. Because of the omega-3 oils and the inflammatory properties of omega-3 oils, omega-6s. I'm weaning myself off of peanut butter, which was a staple food growing up. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about two favorites.
All right. And how is our time, Mr. Toastmaster? Do we want to do another one, or what are we? Do a couple more? Okay. Leslie. And then we'll have Dan round it up. You doing okay over there, Emery?
I'm fine.
Our tabletop
I
is
don't run out of land,
evaluated.
I'll be all right.
All right, so Leslie.
Oh, I don't know if I kept track of the numbers. 3.
That's good.
Okay.
Okay. Who is a favorite person, dead or alive, with whom you'd like to spend some time? Is it good?
Can there be anyone?
Anyone?
Who is a favorite person?
Okay, so you got it in here? You need me to read it again?
Yeah.
Oh, you read it again?
Please.
Okay. Who is a favorite person, dead or alive, with whom you'd like to spend some time?
Honored guests, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home. This is a tough one. There's so many artists, and most of them are dead, that I'd like to talk to or spend some time with. The first one that comes to mind is Michelangelo. I had the chance to go to Italy and see some of his work in person. And it was mind-boggling to me how someone could be that dedicated to their art. That's what they did night and day. I went to art school. People ask me if I'm an artist. And I say yes, usually. I'm a metalsmith. But when I think of an artist, who's an artist? It's someone that the art is in their blood. They do it day and night. So when I think of someone like Michelangelo, I sort of feel like a hack a little bit. But it would be wonderful to spend time with someone like that, to understand where their passion comes from and why it's so important to them, and how could I channel that a little bit and not let distractions like, I'll just get up and make some tea and then I'll work on this piece later. When people had so much invested in their art and so many people counting on them to finish something amazing. So Michelangelo would be the person the artist I'd like to spend time with.
Okay. Dan Craig. Oh, thank you.
Do you use 8?
No, we didn't use 8. That's the one you want?
Is that the only one left?
No.
6?
Well, I'm not trying to talk you out of 8.
It sounded like you were trying to talk me out of it.
Well,
Go ahead.
so 6. 6 is what you want?
Yeah, 6.
This is part of the agony of table topics, is before it even starts, you're having this, oh, should I keep what I have, or do I want what's
We're
behind door number
demonstrating
2?
for the incoming member the agony of tabletop.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm feeling
Put a
it.
little more feeling.
All right. What is a favorite way you'd like to spend your free time? Tell us about it.
Madam Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. How many of you have a hobby, something that you do in your spare time at home? You know, it's definitely not work. It's something not work. Anybody? I have a new hobby, and I don't know if I have a lot of hobbies in my life, but this one has kind of grabbed me. And I'm sure those of you that have hobbies can relate to some extent, how you can sort of get a little bit obsessed about it. My new hobby is playing bass. I started going to a friend's house about a year ago, and he and his wife and I, over the years, have done a lot of singing together. We like to sing 3-part harmonies. We started out singing a lot of Beatles stuff because they have those good 3-part harmonies. He's a guitarist. He's really a doctor, but he's really a guitarist, if you know what I mean. Doctor is his day job. At one point he said, why don't you get a bass and see how that would be? And so I did, and I'm sort of hooked. It's so much fun. I think a lot of people that listen to music don't much notice bass, but when you add it in to singing and guitar, wow, there's a whole nother dimension there. The other thing my subset of obsession is trying to learn how to sing and play bass at the same time. It is a killer. But I'm working on it, and I'm enjoying spending a lot of my spare time with my new obsession. Thank you.
And so Dan, how many bases do you have exactly?
It's time to move on with this.
I think our inquiring minds in this audience would like to know.
Three. Is that all?
What?
You didn't make the time on that last one.
No, Dan, you need to go a minute if you're gonna come up here and do that. No, but that.
I cede my time to the group.
Yeah, all right, very good. Okay, I think, now are we done? Everyone's been up? Do you want to see what number 8 was that Dan so narrowly avoided? And then we'll vote. So this was the one. Describe how you would be dressed if you were wearing a favorite outfit, whether you currently own it or not.
Oh, that would have been fun.
See, that's a kind of a love it or hate it kind of question probably for people. All right. Madam Timer, could you please tell us the people who qualified?
Disqualified.
And could you read the names for us?
Will, 1 minute, 55 seconds.
I-
Oh, just the names?
Just the names so we can refresh our minds.
Fraser, Dennis, Peter, Art, Leslie, and Dan.
Okay. It's almost like who didn't go up? Hudaifa, me, and Emery. Okay, so any one of the others, you can go for it. Right.
Maybe you don't vote for those 3.
Don't vote for these 3. Okay. All right. All right, we're back. Thank you very much. We had really engaging table topics, and I learned a lot about my fellow members. And now to evaluate our table topics is our table topics evaluator, Emery Styron, who will be giving his opinion on things that worked well and possible suggestions for trying in the future to make an even better experience for the audience. Please help me warmly welcome Emery.
Thank you, and greetings, fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home, and worldwide. We had 7 table topic speakers tonight. They all seem to be in a gregarious mood, and it was a very enjoyable table topic session. We started with Will. All of these dealt with favorites. Will focused on the time of year. Just about everyone took time to think, Will included. Will gets points for sincerity and, as Art mentioned earlier, gusto. He's always forceful and jolly as he delivers his speeches. Good vocal variety. Did I hear you right? You talked about Fall's final yell?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I got a little carried away.
And raised his voice. That was very loud, so I like that. And Will was just passionate about orange, yellow, red colors, leaves drifting down. I could feel it. And his movement was fairly purposeful. Suggestion I would make as something you could do differently would be also on vocal variety, vary your tempo. Slow down when you're talking about the leaves drifting to the ground. For example, all right, Fraser took time to speech, think, repeated the question, which was very effective, big smiles, and I love your big hand gestures. Suggestions, you have this fist popping move which can be distracting. Could be very effective when used purposefully, but I think maybe you use it unconsciously sometimes. And you could have used a stronger recap. I think you said something like, I'm done, but brown then blue, you know. Dennis, favorite part of the world, big smiles, and I just love the specificity of your talk, the beaches, the food, the cultures. We could tell you knew the Mediterranean very well, from as deep into the detail as you went. And so, just eloquent terms. Gregariously gathers, glistens, smoldering, sweltering heat, and a great recap. You might work in some more purposeful stage movement. Peter, great for a first-time effort, Peter. Congratulations. You took your time, you greeted the audience, your eye contact was good, and your command of your topic was extremely impressive. You found a way to take that question and bring it home to something that you obviously have thought a lot about and know a lot about, or else you're a heck of a thinker on your feet. As you mentioned, finish with a recap. Wrap it up, tie a bow on it, rather than just say, I'm done. Art, foods. Avocados are glorious. That was a wonderful statement. You have the quietest voice with the most force of anybody I've ever met. And I like that. For suggestions, use your hands more effectively. You tend to kind of just hold them out here in front of you a lot, and I think you could do more with them. You're talking about scooping up avocados and smashing avocados, so there's a way to do that. And then I think your peanut butter at the end kind of muffled your ending. You could have stuck it better if you just quit right after avocados. Just my opinion. Leslie, favorite person? You took a little time, but I think you could have took more time because you started before you actually had your thoughts together, and you really had time to take another 15 seconds and get that all composed in your head before you started in. But what you had to say was thoughtful, and your passion for art came through very strongly, a lot of specific detail. As I say, my suggestion is to finish thinking, then start speaking. Good advice for all of us all the time. And Dan, ways to spend your free time. Very impressive talk. You took your time, you greeted the audience, you opened with a question, which brought us all into it. And your enjoyment of your new obsession was very clear to us from the big smiles on your face and your enthusiasm as you talked to us. I don't have too many suggestions, but one thing you might consider for doing different is I expected a little air guitar. So, Madam Table Topics Master, that's my evaluation.
Now I'd like to call up our general evaluator to go through our roles. Art.
So let's hear the reports from our role players. Starting with our timer, Leslie, the names of the speakers and the times they spoke.
Hy-Vee for his icebreaker, 4 minutes 57 seconds. And for table topics, Will, 1 minute 55 seconds. Fraser, 1 minute 21 seconds. Dennis, 2 minutes 10 seconds. Peter, 2 minutes 8 seconds. Art, 2 minutes 26 seconds. Leslie, 1 minute 46 seconds. And Dan, 2 minutes and 1 second. For evaluators, Fraser, 2 minutes and 42 seconds. And Emery as our general evaluator, 6 minutes and 2 seconds.
Thank you. Now let's hear from our grammarian, Will Burns. Okay, we will. Good, thank you. Let's hear from our grammarian, Will Burns.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I heard Emery, Hy-Vee, and Dennis use gregarious tonight. Did I miss anybody? Great job to you three. As far as the colorful language and descriptors, all that juicy sort of language I heard. Hudaifa. I am a programmer, a calligrapher, a father, and the 8th child of 11. I thought that really did a great job of summing up a variety of things that you are. Also, you spoke about combining the art and the work and life. We usually like triads here in Toastmasters, but I felt like this quad quote was especially nice and the best choice there. Dennis, I need a siesta because the sweltering heat that just swallows your soul. I thought that was beautiful. And Peter, I don't much care what orchestral piece is played. I just love pre-modern loud music. I never thought about it in that way before, but it made so much sense. I just had to say, yeah, that makes sense. I agree with Art that avocados are glorious. I love them whenever I can get them, when they're ripe. And Leslie, I felt touched on a beautiful thing here. When people ask me, I would often say I'm an artist, a metalsmith. But sometimes I felt like a hack. I think we can all relate to that whenever we're doing something meaningful. Not being sure. And Dan, this hobby has grabbed me. Just that quote grabbed me. And speaking about your friend and your partner in crime, he was a doctor, but he was really a guitarist. Thank you. Beautiful meeting tonight.
Picking up a piece of business that I skipped over by accident. Madam Timer, both of our evaluators, Fraser and Emery, qualified, correct?
Yes, correct.
Then let us now take the time to vote for the best evaluator of the evening. We're back. We have 2 more role player reports. The next one being our Counters report from our counter Dennis.
Here are the Ahs that I need to call out. Hudaifa, excellent job. At your speech, I only caught 1 Ah. Fraser, I counted 1 1 you know, 1 but, and 1 false start. Will, you were clean this time. I didn't catch anything. Jean, just 1 false start. Peter, very well done. Very well orchestrated speech right there. I counted 1 ah, 1 and 1 so. Art, I counted only 1 so. Leslie, I counted 1 so. Dan, 1 Xerox. And Emery, I was intrigued by your whole evaluation. I didn't catch anything. You're clean this time. You're off the hook. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Now let's hear from our long-awaited joke master,
Oh, no.
Jean Symington Craig.
I got this assignment, I think, about half an hour before the meeting. So yeah, either that or I just missed it. So I'm going to give a couple of little jokey riddle things. Why did the witch say she would not fly on her broom when she was angry?
I don't know why.
She was afraid she'd fly off the handle. What do you call a man who's been attacked by a cat? Claude. And the third one is, my neighbor told me about a man with 1 leg named Steve. So I asked, well, what's the name of the other leg? That's it.
I don't think you could have done better if you had 2 weeks.
I'll dispense with a lengthy evaluation We got started 2 minutes late. We had 2 good evaluations. Fraser, evaluating Hy-Vee, used the manual and went through point by point and had a useful suggestion for you. Emery had quite a job in front of him, 7 different speakers. He evaluated, noticing things that were well done and things that could be improved in most of the speakers. There was a suggestion. I think maybe you missed having a substantive suggestion for maybe 1 or 2 out of 7, but I was impressed with the job that you did. Evaluation is a tough skill. This past weekend at the district, or rather the division competition, I listened to a very skillful speaker deliver a target speech, and then I listened to a number of evaluators come up and give evaluations of that target speech. My reaction to hearing this skillful speaker deliver the speech was, I don't really have anything that I could say of value to either offer a suggestion for improvement or do anything but praise what was done well. The very first evaluator who got up gave an absolutely slam dunk, fabulous evaluation full of useful observations and substantive things that the speaker could do to improve the speech. And it was a revelation to me just how much skill this evaluator had developed. Amazingly enough, he did not take first place. Another one of the speakers that I didn't hear took first place in the evaluation contest. It's a very highly refined skill that can be developed to a very high degree. And we're wise in this club to focus on it. Now, switching hats, I will resume my role as Toastmaster and move on to the meeting awards section of the meeting. Let's hear a drum roll for the best table topic speaker. And would Will please come forward? Here you go, sir.
Thank you, Art.
And now a drum roll for best evaluator. And would Emery please come forward? Thank you. And Hy-Vee, would you please come forward for a ribbon for having completed our presentation? And now I'll turn the lectern over to our club president to close the meeting.
Thank you, everybody, for your attendance, for your participation. We heard lots of beautiful language today. Let's talk about business quick before we go. One thing, one detail. We do have 2 officer positions opening up right now. So for anybody who is interested in some potential officer positions, officers next week will be discussing it in our meetings. But if you do have particular interest in potentially being VP of membership or VP of PR, please let me know. We will be discussing, and if needed, we can bring things to an election for that. So we do need people who would be interested in them and people who are able to show up and be consistent about their attendance. That's a big challenge we've had sometimes. Please let me know. Send me an email or talk to me after the meeting if you have some interest. We do have a few in mind already, but we need people to be sure to come forward and be sure they can dedicate themselves. Is there any other general business? Yep.
Couple things. One, I need speakers for the rest of the month
Okay.
to schedule.
That's a big deal.
So
Yes.
come see me after the meeting. And the other, I'm interested in a report from Will and Art on the contest.
Very important. Right there. That sounds good. Without further ado, let's start the report right now. Impromptu table topics. Thank you. Thank you, Will. Shake your
Well,
hand.
one of the fun parts of the contest for me was the fact that Will and I drove up together and actually returned together too. We had good conversation in both directions. I had a lot of fun participating in the contest, and in fact, this is the first time in over 10 years of being in the club that I've participated in a speech contest as a competitor. I've judged, I've timed, I've ballot counted, I've done everything but be a competitor. And I had a lot of fun, both at the club in the area level and at the division level this last weekend.
Just want to echo what Art said. This actually was my first time as well. I've not been in the club as long as Art, but this was my first time going up to the contest, to the division contest, and it was quite an experience. Seeing all these speakers and evaluators just go out there, and, they were definitely seasoned hands. I mean, Art just shrugged off all the pressure. He went out there and delivered a fabulous rendition of his speech. I have to be honest, the nerves got to me a little bit. I did learn a lot, though, from the other evaluators. And I'm going to take the words to heart from another speaker who did not place, Corey May, who said, "I didn't place today. I didn't contest, so I walked away having learned what I needed to learn." And in the same way, I left with so much information and inspiration about how I can go forward with evaluations and go forward with my speeches in the future. And it was a fabulous experience.
The gusto that you see him displaying when he speaks here at the club was the one thing that wasn't present in his evaluation of the target speaker. The gusto with which the first place humorous speaker gave his humorous speech was like 10 times what Will usually does. I mean, the guy was all over the speaking area. He pantomimed. His talk was titled, "When you take your clothes off, you win." And what he was recounting was a personal experience when he got the impromptu opportunity to be a male stripper. And so he prepared by getting all the proper underclothes and clothes that you would take off. He oiled his body thoroughly and then proceeded to go on stage for his performance, which turned out to be a series of mishaps. The clothing wouldn't come off because he had so much oil in his body. And he was illustrating what happened when he tried to take his trousers off and got caught around his ankles, and he's hopping around trying to get this. And he finally slips and falls in a pool of oil on the stage that had dripped off his body. He was spectacular in his delivery technique. I, on the other hand, had just as much laughter from the audience as he did, but what I didn't have was the tremendous energy and gymnastics with which he gave his presentation, and that, I think, was the major difference.
Who was it? Who was it?
Mark Lavin.
Mark Lavin
Won the humorous speech
won the humorous speech.
and the evaluation.
And the evaluation, yeah. Really? He was on fire.
Yeah, he was a paragon of high energy in both of his deliveries.
So if you ever get a chance to go up to the division contest, or even more so the district contest and events, I highly recommend it. I will definitely be back next year. Whether I advance that far again or not, I'll go as a guest. Awesome experience.
Was Kristen Brookman a competitor?
She was. She took second place in the humorous speaking contest.
I've competed against her twice at those contests, and she's fearsome.
A wily competitor.
Tamara, somebody.
Tamara was
Yeah,
She was
Tamara.
also a competitor in evaluation and humorous
Yeah,
speaking.
they're two tough ones from the Quad Cities.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can hardly
yeah,
get past.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really said, Corey didn't place, but the only reason is I believe he had about a week to prepare, 2 weeks to prepare. So he was, for how fast he got up to speed, incredible. And if anybody has ever seen Corey speak, it's definitely.
Yeah, his title was very intriguing. It was Advice from a 50-year-old man living in his parents' basement.
Yeah.
Like something pretty close to that.
Words take to heart. Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Well done. Thanks for what you did. That's great. Go participate, and then it makes me want to go next time as guests. Yep.
Dennis, it is October 20th on Friday, and then the 21st is a Saturday. It is the Fall 2017 conference. It's at the Radisson Hotel and Conference Center.
Good.
So,
Coralville or Iowa City.
you know, it doesn't say here, but
Okay.
that's it. And so if people wanted to go up and see some really, really top-notch stuff, they should maybe check with you or see
Yeah.
if you might be going, perhaps.
Yeah.
I forgot to say I did place third.
Yeah, and it was out of how many?
There was either 5 or 6 competitors.
I believe it was 6.
Okay, that's
Well, that's
awesome,
pretty good.
Art.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's see.
Excellent.
Visits.
Well done. And I'm glad that it's really hard though when the first place guy is, I mean, he's keeping his clothes on, but he's talking about a subject like that. It's very difficult with all that. Yeah, that sounds like a very good time to be seeing people speak like that with so much gusto, so much energy. So regarding the business meeting, what I'll do then, Jean, is I can take a look. I think I did get the same email that you did.
If that's the weekend,
And
that's what
I
it
can
is.
send it out to everybody who's a member here,
Okay,
just to remind everybody about it, and we can bring it up next meeting too.
okay.
Because I think we are on the same.
It is
Same
the same
note.
thing, and so
Exactly.
that's the one you're planning to go?
Yes.
And then now we could get that up there then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as I'm able to drive up that morning, which looks like I should be so far.
Mhm. They usually have a daily, you know, you can go the same day.
Yeah, good. Another thing for officers, quick, next meeting, I will email you guys to remind you, but next week we are planning to have an not impromptu, but a meeting. So that way we can look over, especially filling the next 2 officer roles that we need to fill. We will have some discussions about that, and I will follow up with you guys about that. Is there anything else regarding business? From anybody? Peter, we're very glad to have you on board. What are your thoughts about becoming part of our club?
Well, I filled out my form,
Yeah,
ready to roll.
great.
So, and I enjoyed myself tonight,
Yeah,
hearing everyone speak.
we're glad to have you every week now.
In the month of October, I'm
Yeah.
beginning to separate myself from prior Tuesday
Yeah.
activities.
Was it
So I
okay?
won't be here every week, but
Okay.
I'll be here.
Yeah, most weeks.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that. I mean, I do that myself too. Like last week, I totally missed it. It's all good. Yep. Anything else? Okay. Meeting adjourned.